hit the stop button. Go.
This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you? It is the Monty Show. Thanks for being here. It is Tuesday, May 10th. 2022. Holy cow! Mercury is in retrograde.
Whoa, bro.
Free McChicken
Holy
sandwiches
crap.
and burgers and stuff. Why is McDonald's giving away free food? We'll tell you about it. No, I'm not kidding. Mercury is in retrograde.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, you should look it up. It has to do with emotions and your astrology
crying
sign.
and being emotional and stuff.
You know.
Yeah, your sign.
Yeah. So we'll talk about how you can get free food. We should talk about calories and working out. I only had 2,200 calories yesterday. That's not a lot. Anyway, make sure, speaking of calories, you shop our affiliate links below on this podcast or find YouTube broadcasts that you are partaking in right now. There's all kinds of good stuff. You know, speaking of food, our protein bars, everybody asks us about, what protein bars you guys eat? What's the best protein bar? One bars. One bars are the best protein bars. I don't care what nobody says. One bars are the best protein bars. But what about what do they call the bars down at BYU?
Built bars.
Built Bar. What about Built Bars? One bars.
And she took offense.
Yeah, I mean, she took offense. It's one bars. There's an affiliate link for that. There's all kinds of good stuff. Shop our affiliate links. It helps the channel. Please shop our affiliate links now so I can make more money off of you. Do that. By the way, did you send out T-shirts yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Holy cow, Mercury's in retrograde.
It's the fucking vernal equinox.
You sent out T-shirts yesterday.
I did it, bro.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
And I trolled everybody while I was doing it. I walk into the UPS store yesterday, literally line out the door. Then there's me. I'm the cool kid, right? Labels already printed, taped onto the box,
stack
ready
of boxes.
To ship. Walk in there, walk out. See you later, losers. It's me.
You walk in there with an armful of T-shirt packages and just send them out. By the way, if you buy a T-shirt from us, you get 5-to-1 entries for the for the PlayStation giveaway that we are doing.
Careful.
PS5 giveaway coming up at 5,000 subscribers. We got to get serious about it because we're actually meteorically rising through Mercury in retrograde.
What the fuck are you talking about?
We are at 4054 for subscribers now here on this fine YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We picked up over 390 subs in the last couple of weeks, according to YouTube. So we appreciate you for that. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you're here now, please give us a like. And without further ado, let's talk about this here fine program and Quin Snyder, the head coach of your Utah Jazz. So Quinn had his hip replaced and then decided to meet with the media yesterday. And I actually thought it was a fairly compelling season-ending press conference, far more compelling than what Justin Zanuck gave us last week. But one question that I had, and my main takeaway from Quin Snyder meeting with the media is Quin Snyder committed in the long term to being the head coach of the Utah Jazz? You hear this answer, and it makes you wonder.
Appreciate the things, that Ryan's doing. Have great respect for him and his vision for the franchise. And then, working with Justin and Danny's been great. Obviously have tremendous respect for them. So, beyond that, I think I've, continued to maintain that I'm not going to discuss my contractual situation publicly. That's just not something that that I want to do or I'm comfortable doing.
Quin Snyder, the current head coach of the Utah Jazz. By the way, as we first reported in March, Quin Snyder has 1 year left on his contract and a mutual option. So if Quin Snyder wants to be the head coach, let's get a couple of things straight. He will be the head coach because the Utah Jazz are not going to fire Quin Snyder. Sources have continued to tell us that they like Quin Snyder. They like working with Quinn. They believe their roster is the issue. It is not a coaching problem. But the bigger question, Jake, in listening to that bite, I wonder, does Quin Snyder want to be the head coach of the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he still wants to be the head coach of the Utah Jazz, but I think what he's never going to do is get into the, hey, I want this or I want that, or, I need this contractually or whatever. That's just not how Quinn goes about it, and I can respect that. I'm certainly not criticizing him for that. I think the reality of the situation is he has 1 year left. He'll be here. I think he definitely is going to play out that contract, but as far as the future is concerned, I don't know. I mean, a year from now, many different opportunities could arise, and being that it's the last year on his deal, who knows what he's interested in or what his outlook is. I mean, he said in that presser yesterday that his family likes it here, that his kids like it here, so it seems to me that he's essentially saying that he does want to coach the team and he does want to be here, but we all know how this goes. It was like, this whole deal with the Kalani Sitake extension and that taking forever. It was like, let's go ahead and get that done. Let's lock him up. And I think it's the same thing for the Jazz with Quinn. You don't want to be in the situation where you have to find another head coach because, as we said on the show yesterday and we've been saying, there's not a good replacement for Quin Snyder. He's one of the best coaches in the league. So I think he does want to be here. I just think he wants to make sure that moves are made on the roster. He's tired of coaching this particular group of guys, and he's tired of trying to figure out how to compensate for a lack of athleticism.
But it's interesting you say he's tired of coaching this group of guys. Listen to this bite here. Quin Snyder believed that this group of guys could do something special.
Processing just the fact that your season's over when, I really, really believed that, we just kind of needed a spark and we had a chance to do something special. That didn't happen. So there's, a sense of loss, in that sense.
There's a sense of loss in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, was there a message in that bite? Because when you hear Quin Snyder say that there was a loss in a sense because we felt like we could do something special with this group, he's not the most convincing guy in that statement.
We had a chance to do something special. That didn't happen. So there's, a sense of loss, in that sense.
Did you have the chance to do something special with this group?
I don't necessarily think they had a chance to do something special. I mean, I guess, if you put yourself in Quinn's shoes, I understand why maybe you would believe that and why maybe you want that to be the case. But I just don't think that they were talented enough or athletic enough to keep up. And that's just the unfortunate reality of the situation. I see this whole concept or conversation running around Twitter the last couple of days about how the Jazz had the top 3 offense the last, 3 years or whatever, had the best offense the last 3 years. And the frustrating thing is, like, that's what the Jazz fan base and Jazz media and Jazz community as a whole likes to do. Oh, well, we had a great offense the last 3 years, so that means that nobody should change? No. That means that you had a decent offense, but as soon as the 3 didn't start to fall, then, the trials, the tribulations, the adversity, the hurdles you have to go through start to kind of rear their ugly head. And again, when you're not making your threes, and whether this isn't a game-by-game situation or throughout a series against Dallas, you can't shoot 22% against Dallas from 3 and think you're going to win.
Exactly right.
You just can't do it. And the real problem with that, if we're really getting down to brass tacks, is you can't put yourself in a situation from a roster standpoint where you need to shoot 40% to win a ball game because the defense in the league is too good. You have to be able to get to the line. You have to be able to effectively control the mid-range on the floor. And if you do that, then guys like Bojan Bogdanovic or anybody you want to point to who's standing wide open in the corner, then you will get that wide open look and they will most likely make those. So that's why I say it's just a flawed concept throughout. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm not sitting here saying that Quin Snyder's a flawed coach for trying to coach this team and going about it the way they went about it on offense. I don't sincerely think he had another choice.
No.
I mean, with this roster, there was no other way that you were going to go. It was kind of this situation where Quinn was basically put in a situation where it was like, all right, Well, you're not nearly athletic enough on the wing or on the perimeter to keep up with most teams in the league at this point. So you're going to give up quite a bit on defense. So then that means that you are going to have to stay in the game by shooting the three ball at a high rate. So whether the last 3 years, if you think about it, whether it's injuries, whether it's can't make a three, whether it's losing composure with the officiating, these things are exacerbated by all this.
But look at the Warriors win last night.
Mm-hmm.
They shot terrible. Klay Thompson, I believe, was 0 of 7 from the floor last night.
Yeah.
Like they were a brick-laying mother.
Right.
And they still found a way to win because they play smart basketball. They still found a way to win because as much as you hate Draymond Green gets a critical shot block and a rebound and sets a defensive stance higher out of the paint to keep, Jaren Jackson Jr. from scoring. Like all these high IQ plays. And oh, by the way, they made 20 and 22 free throws. Like you don't need to make threes to win games.
Right.
But I think you have to be athletic and I think you have to be smart. That was the issue with this team. So when I hear Quin Snyder talking about, we could have done something special, I don't think they could have. And so I go back to like expectations this past season, and I wonder whose expectation was it that this team was going to be special?
Because you had a chance to do something special.
Because it wasn't mine.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a lot of people.
But you hear the media in this town talking about how disappointing this season was.
Uh-huh.
You hear the fans in this town talking about how they thought this was the year. And I'm like, dude, what are you like? I just don't understand the misplaced
what were you looking
expectations, right? Because you didn't get better. You didn't get deeper. So it's specifically to Quin Snyder. The other equation here is, what if Quin Snyder quits?
Yeah.
What if? Are you the Sacramento Kings who hired a retread in Mike Brown? Are you going to go and find somebody that is unproven as an assistant coach? And, how many times are we going to talk about Sam Cassell on this show? Or does Sam Cassell move the needle in that locker room? Because I'm telling you, he doesn't.
Yeah.
To me, Quin Snyder is one of the most important acquisitions of this offseason. I think before the season tips off, you need to sign him to an extension.
Yeah.
I think you need to remake this roster. You need to remake this roster, and you need to sign Quin Snyder to a contract extension.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, having a coach who's on an expiring deal is never a good situation. But I also think that one thing that we need to be very clear about is when they move Rudy, because they will move Rudy, when that happens, there's no measurement or way to calculate how much of an impact that has on your locker room and the flow and the chemistry that these guys will have.
I would agree with that.
I think that like on the floor, as an example, when in the Dallas series, Quinn was playing small ball and trying to pick up the pace, you saw a different version of Donovan Mitchell come alive. You saw a different version of the offense come alive. So my biggest question is, okay, yeah, sure, when you move Rudy, A, what do you get back for Rudy that you can implement on the floor? But then B, and probably more importantly, how does Rudy Gobert not being in the locker room affect the chemistry and affect the conversations and affect the vibe? Because I look at like your Memphises or your Phoenixes or any of these teams left in the postseason, those guys like coming to work every day. Those guys like playing with each other. Those guys operate as a unit, and this team for most of the season did not do that. So that, I think, is also something that they need to address.
Well, what I find interesting, again, and I just compare the Jazz to teams that are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what you have to do. If you want to get better, I think you have to compare yourself to those that are better than you, that are doing what you want to be doing. I look at even the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks don't have great team chemistry. There's a lot of people who believe that a guy like Luka Doncic is not popular with his teammates. They wind up sending Kristaps Porzingis out. You bring in all these new guys. They're finding ways to win games.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have great spirit. I look at the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are not a team where you're like, man, that team chemistry is off the chart. They have 3, 4, 5 guys that make an impact. And then, oh, by the way, Al Horford has a career high 30-point playoff performance last night to win them the game. Clearly, Al Horford is why they won that game.
That motherfucker don't miss.
Not
man.
Last night he didn't. And that, for me, that kind of performance is what this bench doesn't have.
Yeah.
That kind of performance is what this roster doesn't have, where you get 3-4 guys that are contributing at a high level, where you're getting the Jordan Pooles and you're getting the Gary Payton, you're getting the Al Horford, you're getting the Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunsons, Maxi Klebas of the world. You're getting guys that are maligned, like a James Harden having a huge performance for the Sixers.
Yeah.
These are all things that you're seeing happening in front of you, and the Jazz just aren't capable of that. And so you can put anybody you want to be the head coach. It's not going to matter because you're trying to compete with an inferior roster.
Keep it real.
So again, not to be redundant, does Quin Snyder want to be the head coach of this team? I think that's up in the air. I think that's a question that's yet to be answered. I think Quin Snyder very intelligently is waiting to see what this roster becomes.
I want to play this bite one more time, just to emphasize what he says here.
Appreciate the things, that Ryan's doing. Have great respect for him and his vision for the franchise. And then, working with Justin and Danny's been great. Obviously have tremendous respect for them. So, beyond that, I think I've, continued to maintain that I'm not going to discuss my contractual situation publicly. That's just not something that that I want to do or I'm comfortable doing.
Utah Jazz head coach Quin Snyder right there. I mean, and I understand there's always been an agreement between the club and the coach that they would not reveal the terms of his deal. And so I understand that. He had an opportunity to say, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Hey, yeah, this is my club. Hey, and instead he took a pass on that and he really said nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think you played the line perfectly. What I hear Quinn saying there is he likes working with those specific guys, but I also think we can take some points out of what he didn't say. To your point, like you notice you didn't hear him say, "Hey, I love this team and I love these players and they're the best thing." Like that's not what he's saying. He's saying that, hey, I believe in this front office, but essentially without saying it, I think this roster needs change. I mean, I know I'm surmising there and I know I'm speaking for him a bit, but when you have the opportunity to say things and you don't say them, and you're Quin Snyder, you're very cerebral, you're very intelligent, you're at the top of your profession damn near, like you know what you're doing. And so not to criticize him, but I really want to emphasize this. He didn't come out and give some glowing, statement about how great this roster is and I can't wait to be back and we're going to run it back next year. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, I love working for Danny, Ryan, and Justin Zanuck, right? But I'm not going to talk about my contract. Yeah. Hey, I love working for these guys. There's change needed. If the change happens, I'm going to be here. If it doesn't, I'm probably not going to renew. That's essentially what I feel like he said there. That's my honest opinion.
I don't know. I think there is, one of the things that I think is so interesting is that there's just so little, and again, this is just my opinion. It's just my opinion. There's so little known about Quin Snyder. What do we really know about him? Oh, good coach, family man. What do you really know about him? Remember Bronco used to paddleboard across Utah Lake. What do we know about Quin Snyder?
Yeah, you don't. You don't.
He's a very reclusive, private man. And I like that. And I respect that. And I think he fits in perfectly with this ball club, with this community. I just don't know that we value him enough as a city, as a town, as a state, as a fan base. I don't believe that Quin Snyder's valued enough. I really don't. And I think that the change in this roster is going to be significant. And, I think a couple of the other things that I think you really got to talk about are what guys on this roster are capable of stepping up. Because, again, I think it is imperative that this is the greatest offseason that Donovan Mitchell's ever had.
Yeah.
I think Donovan Mitchell has to come to work in September, and he has to be a much better defensive player. I think Donovan Mitchell has to come to work in September, and he has to be a much better mid-range player.
Yeah.
But I think Donovan Mitchell has to come to work in September and have a better mental game. He has to have a better physical game. This has to be a life-altering offseason for Donovan Mitchell because now this club is built around him. And remember, I'm saying this on May 10th of 2022. This has to be a transformative offseason for Donovan Mitchell because he is the straw that stirs the Jazz drink. From Quin Snyder to Rudy Gobert to Ryan Smith to every fan listening to this show, Donovan Mitchell is the most significant question mark surrounding this team.
Yeah.
Because if Don's gone, my guess is Quin's gone. If Rudy's gone, my guess Quin stays. If Donovan Mitchell comes back the same player that he is today when he shows up in training camp, this team is doomed.
Yeah.
He has to improve. If the Jazz bring back Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell together, they both have to be significantly different players. They have to be. Because this team will not win with them being the same players they are. Look at this bullshit with Rudy Gobert and Shaquille O'Neal. Like this out of Rudy Gobert infuriates me.
You know, Rudy's a great player, fine defensive player, but he offers nothing on the offensive end. Like, he has no post moves. You know, like
I think Rudy Gobert can hold you to like 12 points.
yeah, in the first 3 minutes. in the first. Let me tell you something, man. It's against my religion for somebody to hold me one-on-one. I take that personally. I do. And you know what I'm gonna do with him? He's a shot blocker. He can't shoot a shot. You got to back his little skinny ass up under the rim, and then show him the bow so he gets scared. Wole, and then just go up, ba.
Wait,
what
was that?
Yeah. Wole, creme brulee, French fry.
Bro. Shade.
So that's Shaquille O'Neal on a podcast talking about Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
And if you're Rudy Gobert in this situation, and this is just my opinion,
Right.
if you're Rudy Gobert in this situation, you don't say a word. And this is part of the issue with Rudy Gobert. He is soft.
Yeah.
He is soft. So what did Rudy Gobert say?
I would lock his ass up.
I would lock his ass up.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Gobert tweeted, I would lock his ass up in reference to Shaq.
Yeah.
And I want to wrap my head around Rudy Gobert. I want to understand. And look, I get it. I know that Rudy is somebody that takes a lot of heat. You cannot tweet that. You cannot tweet, I would lock his ass up. Because I got news for you. Nobody's locking Shaq up. Nobody ever locked Shaq up. Shaq locked Shaq up. Nobody ever locked him up. He is easily, and again, I want people to understand, I covered him in the best years of his career with the Lakers. When Shaq was an LA Laker, Shaq and Kobe, the dynasty years, Phil Jackson, I was there every single day. He's by far the most dominant player I've ever seen. And I've seen Michael Jordan. I've seen Kobe Bryant. I've seen LeBron James. And nobody dominated fools the way Shaq dominated fools. With all due respect to Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Because he's an elite defensive player in the paint. He's not locking Shaq up. He's just not. And so my question is, if you are Rudy Gobert, why are you putting yourself in the middle of this conversation?
Because I think he's prideful. I think, and again, I don't say this to try to hate on the guy, but I think we could agree that Rudy is a pretty prideful guy, whether we're talking about officiating or the Donovan Mitchell dynamic or Shaq. I mean, the guy, Rudy is not going to let, somebody, talk a bunch of junk about him. But I agree with you. I mean, when a Hall of Famer, the greatest big of all time, if you will, like a guy on Shaq's level says something, I mean, it should be a compliment to you that he's even talking about you,
Yeah.
And that's what I think Rudy doesn't understand. So it is what it is. I mean, Rudy is just that person who can't help himself, with all due respect. And look, I love his defensive game. I love what he's capable of doing at the rim, but but you're not stopping Shaquille O'Neal. It's just not. You're just not doing it.
And it is, yeah. The mentality of this team. I brought this Rudy Gobert thing up because I think it's important to talk about the mentality of this team. This is one of the major issues with this ball club.
Yeah.
Is that this team is weak mentally. And that is my one consistent knock of Quin Snyder, is that I think you have to build mental toughness into your teams. The team that stops talking to officials, the team that stops talking to the other team, the team that focuses on themselves will be the next super team in this league.
Yeah.
It's a life hack. To not give a shit what everybody else thinks is a life hack. Your life becomes so much simpler when you have a small circle of people who are important to you and you don't care what other people think.
Facts.
That makes your life so much simpler. And yet Rudy Gobert can never embrace that. He's never been able to be that guy. Donovan clearly cares what people think. And in my opinion, that's Quin Snyder's major shortcoming as a coach, is that he does not build mental toughness into their ball club. And it's one of the things I'd really love to see him adjust and do differently. I would love to see this Utah Jazz team become a mentally tough group of guys.
Yeah.
And to do that, you're going to have to change the roster, because Bojan is in this conversation as well. I mean, Bogey is just a guy that whines and complains all the time. He flops all the time on both ends of the floor. The guy that you're probably your most mentally tough player is Mike Conley, and he's just broken down at this point. Mike Conley is losing a fist fight with Father Time, who, by the way, still, to my knowledge, is undefeated.
Yeah.
In millions and millions and billions of fights. Father Time is undefeated. My point is, this team's got to get better mentally, because basketball-wise, it's fine. If you put guys in that can shoot threes and rebound, this team's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Mentally, they're going to get beat on a regular basis. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Talking about Quin Snyder and the Jazz. Edgar Garcia says, "What's up, players? You sons of gun casuals."
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Casual.
Leonard Donan Endelove says, "We back. What's up, my man?" The Nye Guy, good morning, dudes. What's up, Nye Guy? Good to see you, my friend. Neville93, lovely to see you as well. Good morning, people. I had a question about Quin Snyder. You think he wants to be here? I don't know if he wants to be here.
I think he does.
I think he does want to be here, as long as it's not with this roster.
Yeah, that's what I agree with that.
I think he wants to be here with a different roster. And Garcia says, "Morning, Grumpy Ashes." Okay. JJ Marsh says, "Good morning. If Quin had a better roster, the Jazz would win more." Players. Yeah, I agree, JJ.
Agree.
Totally. Nye Guy says, "I think Quin is sitting back waiting like we are for what's going to happen roster-wise." I would agree with that. Enough with the excuses that Quin didn't have the right players for his game plan. Why didn't he adjust to his players' strengths? And Garcia wants to know. Well, I mean, did he not adjust?
Do you want him to make?
Right, but did he not adjust to their strengths? Did he not take Rudy out of the paint? Did he not put Rudy in the corner to open up driving lanes for Donovan and Conley? Is it his fault that Mike Conley shoots under 35% in the paint now?
Is it his fault that the team shot 22% from three in the series?
I don't think it is. Like, he has put guys in. I mean, the ISO basketball that this team plays to, I think, their top end. The issue is that he waited. If you want to complain about his adjustments, I think he waited too long to pull Rudy Gobert out of the paint. I think he waited too long to play small ball. He should have been playing small ball in March and April.
Yeah.
And instead, you wind up losing to Dallas, trying to adjust on the fly, which, yeah, I agree. That's a valid criticism of Quin Snyder. He should have adjusted more quickly. If Quin quit, hey now, comment dump. Sorry, Garcia, I lost your other comment there. If Quin quits, bring Ingles in to coach. Stop. Nah, guys, stop. Brandon Whiteside says, "What happens when the next player comes in, challenges Mitchell's lack of defense? Mitchell needs to step up. Watching that Memphis defense or Dallas defense seems like their players try to guard." Well, I mean, you're talking about apples and oranges. I think Donovan Mitchell absolutely has to be a better defender. There's no doubt about that. But you look at the thing that makes Memphis so tenacious defensively, the thing that makes Boston and Milwaukee so tenacious defensively is they have 5 guys on the floor at any given time that are athletic and really good defenders. You look at even having Al Horford on the floor. Al Horford's able to switch onto multiple players and still be a good perimeter defender. You look at Jaylen Brown playing excellent defense, banging in the paint with Giannis. You look at Memphis. You look Golden State. You look at the way that Draymond Green was able to impact that ball game last night from the center position, guarding. He's literally guarding Desmond Bane on 2 huge possessions in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And Desmond Bane has a terrible night because he saw a lot of rotations and he saw a lot of Klay Thompson. He saw a lot of Steph Curry. He saw a lot of Draymond Green. And as a team, Golden State defends really well. As a team, the Utah Jazz are not a very good defensive team. They can't rotate. You're asking Bojan Bogdanovic to cover a lot of ground because Rudy Gobert can't cover a lot of ground. Okay, well, that's one thing. But, oh, by the way, they also don't communicate at all defensively.
Yeah.
So you're comparing apples to oranges. You can't compare how good Boston is defensively to how bad the Jazz are because they don't have the same caliber of player.
Yeah, and I don't think that the belief was there as a unit. That's the thing. Like, I think one thing that gets majorly discounted or skipped is the belief as 5 guys together on the defensive end. You look at any of these teams. Bell, we've got the Warrior highlights on in the background, or you look at, like you were saying, Boston or any of these teams that are left. All these teams, to get to this point, you have to have belief in one another, and you have to have the ability to play as a unit.
And I think Golden State's a really good example of this because of how dramatically Steph Curry's made himself over. You look at the muscle that Steph Curry's added to that frame. Look at Andrew Wiggins. Watching that game, staying up far too late last night, Andrew Wiggins is now a wanting, willing 3-point defender.
Mm-hmm.
It is so much more than what you're being taught. You have to want to. You have to have, the biggest issue for Donovan Mitchell is he just has terrible footwork. But he also is not a confident defender.
Yeah.
And so I look at guys like Bojan Bogdanovic. He's just not physically capable.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Okay, Bojan's not physically capable. Donovan Mitchell doesn't have the tools. He is physically capable, but it's almost like, hey, we've got to put the sway bar in place to connect to the strut and the shock and the stabilizer.
Put it all together and stuff.
All the parts are there. He doesn't have the tools to attach all the parts yet.
Yeah, he doesn't have a wrench.
So he's got to put that together. And in this league, development largely has gone from a team game to an individual game. You really have to have productive summers. You have to get better on your own. So I think this is a very, very, very big summer for Donovan Mitchell. I can only say that so many times. James Knight says pure speculation. So let me get this straight. He loves working for the guys that played a role in the roster he's not happy with. Not at all. I think this roster is largely Dennis Lindsey's roster.
Yeah.
I think that they could have made changes at the trade deadline that would have satiated Quinn, but they chose not to do that because I think Danny Ainge knows what we've said for a long time, that foundational changes happen in the summer. Rarely do they happen with James Harden at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Those kind of trades are very rare for a reason. So I don't think Justin Zanuck's at fault. I think the issue is that you're looking at a situation where Quin Snyder does have a roster that I just don't think, frankly, I don't think that you have the pieces. It's interesting. One of the interesting things that happens is that people message me in vanishing mode, and I can never get there fast enough. I can never get there fast enough.
Right.
But I think what this one person in particular in vanishing mode was trying to tell me was that Quin Snyder wants to be here, but the circumstances right now are preventing him from committing long-term to this team.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest question marks, and I think one of the questions around the NBA, what is Danny Ainge doing? How involved is Danny Ainge? And who's the one guy we have not heard from?
Ryan Smith.
No, Danny Ainge. Has anybody seen a Danny Ainge interview? Has anybody seen a Danny Ainge press conference? Because I've seen Zanuck and I've seen Quinn. I have not seen Danny Ainge. I have not heard from Danny Ainge. I think that needs to happen. It needs to happen. We need to know how are your hands on the wheel here, bud, or what are we doing? You know, like it's very interesting how quiet Danny Ainge has been.
Yeah, I think that was part of the agreement of him working for them, though. I don't think that he wants to deal with the media or any of that.
Well, you can want not to deal with the media. The media is part of this gig, unless you're in Salt Lake City, and then, don't get me started. Anyway, the point is the media is part of this gig. It absolutely is. Gabe Leather says, Monty, show number 711, Slurpees for everyone. Thank you. James Knight says, Shaq is a big mouth. Has been. You've had your time in the sun, Shaq. Go away. But here's the problem. He's the best center in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
And he is, by most people's account, the most dominant player in the history of the NBA. Like, I don't think he has to go away. I really don't. Ryan Buckley says, morning, guys. Shaq isn't wrong about Gobert, though. Truth. Jeremy Bolton, my man, what's up? And stop talking about, you know what, Jeremy? God, fucking... Alex Caruso is not a marijuana addict. He smokes for therapeutic reasons. His knee hurts.
Sometimes, okay, maybe.
Jeremy Bolton says, I love Rudy, but Shaq would look to send Rudy into the shadow realm.
The shadow realm.
Exactly. If they played each other in their prime. Thank you. Thank you. Giggity says Shaq would make Judy his bitch. Judy.
Wow.
Giggity, good morning. Brandon Whiteside says, Tag shut Shaq down till Shaq punched him in the face. Who's Tag?
I don't understand that.
I don't understand that either. Shaq and Draymond are the ones stirring the pot. Don't disagree with that. Because Rudy is the first player to react to tweets? Come on, stop it. No, it's not that Rudy's the first player.
How do you miss this concept? Who said that?
James Knight.
How do you miss this concept? With
First
all due
of all,
respect, James.
wait. Where's my beer?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
He ain't going to send beer. He ain't doing it,
Second
dude.
of all, I agree with you. It's not that he replied to a tweet. It's that you're Rudy Gobert. You got to stay above that. You got to stay. There's no reason. What good when you are Rudy Gobert and you've had the worst 2 years of your career.
Yeah.
And you've had just horrendous moments. And you just signed a contract that universally everybody says is a joke. Arguably, yesterday I was listening to a podcast that said that Rudy Gobert and Russell Westbrook are competing for the worst contracts in the NBA.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
And you're going to say that you would lock up Shaquille O'Neal. You would lock his ass up. It's just not a good thing
Instead,
to do.
What you should have done is you should have said, I appreciate you talking about me, Shaq. Thank you.
Thanks for keeping my name in the spotlight. Really appreciate that. And what he should have said is Shaq's a great player. I have a lot of respect for him. And just that he's even mentioning me in comment. Like, be sarcastic about it in the other direction.
Troll him.
In the other direction.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's not that difficult. By the way, my biceps are so incredibly sore. Like, working out sucks. Don't do
What
it.
do you bench?
Don't do it. 225. Shaq and Draymond are the ones stirring the pot. Yes. Arich Devera says Rudy with his defensive player of the year skill, including all his BS in and out court, and Jazz and teammates are okay as long as his contract is around $24 million a year.
Correct.
You know, the problem is...
We clear on that?
You know, it's 41. John Jackson says, yeah, we expect more from Rudy. Night Guy says, you Gobert fans are up at night. Up in the night? Did you watch the same games I did? Who did he lock down this year? Seriously, that's the problem. That's the problem. There's not post-game and stuff. Big Dog O-Town, what's up, my man? Shout out to Mo Bamba. I really don't think a lot of these Jazz fans understand the importance of athleticism when it comes to the NBA game. It's not church ball and the different wards competing with each other.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Wow. Correct. It's not church ball. Danny Ainge will talk at the completion of the playoffs, James Knight says. I hope so. Erich Devera says the reason Ainge is quiet is because he's stuck in a mess left by Dennis. Even he is speechless. That's probably true. Ryan Buckley says 85% of NBA players smoke weed. They do.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Ostertag. Shaq punched him in the face in a shooting facility because Tag was shutting him down. No, I totally disagree with that. So I talked to Greg Ostertag about this during his time in Sacramento. And the one of the more enjoyable guys to deal with was Greg Ostertag. And I don't remember the exact details of it. This was some time ago now. But talking to Greg Ostertag about the dominance of the center position, Tag knew that was coming to an end. Greg Ostertag was well aware of who he was as a player. And I think the thing I loved about Greg Ostertag is he never took himself too seriously. He got dominated at times.
Yeah.
He got dominated at times. And I do think that Shaq and Greg Ostertag had their moments. There's no doubt about that. Oh yeah, there is no doubt about that.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. I saw Greg Ostertag buying a ladder at Home Depot. Kind of really random. Haha, Jackson Graham says. What the fuck? Shaq doesn't buy ladders at Home Depot. Greg Ostertag does.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So to me, I just think that it's what when you look at the Shaq versus Ostertag, the slap of Greg Ostertag was amazing. It was
never would be allowed in today's game. But back then it was amazing.
No, and I'm pulling up the video of that because I haven't seen this video. Have you ever seen this video, Jake?
I think I have, yeah.
It is a fairly remarkable moment in time, right? And when you look at the way that Shaq handled stuff, yes, it was 1999. That's right. Like the Shaq Ostertag stuff was amazing. And you look at the way that
yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, it's
wild.
It is wild. It is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Rudy, with all due respect to Rudy, you and nobody else is going to stop, Los Angeles Lakers Shaquille O'Neal.
Because he had a hook shot and he could shoot it a little bit and he had a bank shot and it was.
And he was more of a brute than you were. Like he was going to out physical you every single night, man. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot Dennis Rodman was on that 1999 Laker team. What a disaster that was.
Look at in these videos. You go on YouTube and search this, like Shaq and Ostertag. Look it up. Dude, you have their entire defense collapsing on Shaq, and he's still getting to the rim.
Yeah, you have four guys playing Shaquille O'Neal. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
It
like
is.
This for Rudy, it has nothing to do with just replying to the tweet. You had an opportunity to positively troll Shaq.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it.
Yeah. And it's pretty amazing the ability that Shaq has, even on bad shooting nights. And I mean, it's remarkable.
Because he can just go through you. That's the thing. That's what makes him the best big. He can just outpower you.
Yeah, because he dips that shoulder. Everybody remembers Shaq. Like you put that shoulder down and I mean, it's pretty amazing.
And he had great footwork.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that Ostertag competed. Greg Ostertag enjoyed Shaquille O'Neal. He enjoyed competing against Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. He enjoyed their battles. And Shaq had his moments.
Yeah.
Shaq is good. The thing is, there's no shame in getting dunked on by Shaquille O'Neal.
But that's what guys like Rudy don't understand.
There's just no shame in it. And so anyway, we could go on and on. Look at Ty Lue's jump shot.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
You're not that guy. Right? Like, so I don't know, man. I just think that we get so caught up in who's better than who. And, like, I just don't think you don't need to go against a guy like Shaquille O'Neal in the public spotlight when you're making $41 million a year and you're struggling. And you're part of the reason that the Jazz are struggling. Yeah. Man, Shaq was hitting fadeaway hook shots.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Like, you forget how good Shaq was. Like, if you watch what he did.
Yeah, dude, he owned people.
It's unbelievable.
Unstoppable, bro.
Unbelievable what he was able. Like, I haven't watched Shaq highlights in.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, years.
Yeah.
But to watch the way that he dominated in the paint.
Yeah.
To watch the way that him and Ostertag battled each other is crazy.
Yeah.
And that Shaq and Kobe were on the same team
is wild.
Is ridiculous.
Dude.
Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Y'all want to play.
What are you supposed to do with that,
You're
man?
supposed to lose. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think you are. It's crazy that happened. I just don't know, like, what you are supposed to do with that.
Nothing.
I really don't.
So there you go.
Anyway, just watching the Shaq. Go watch Shaq highlights. If you haven't watched Shaq highlights, go watch Shaq highlights because he was unbelievable, and the Ostertag battles were awesome. Were awesome, but you're just not going to get. You're not going to get. Oh, and the Karl Malone foul. Like, there are so many memories.
Yeah, you need to turn that off.
I need to turn that. There are so many memories in the Shaq Laker. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. You know, like, it is unbelievable. Yeah, Shaq was also shooting air balls from the free throw line too. Who cares? Like, see, that's the thing I don't understand.
I love it. Jazz fans hate on a Laker legend because he misses free throws, even though he was the most dominant big in the history of the league.
Yeah, I just
because Rudy hasn't airballed free throws.
Yeah, who cares if he? I have respect for just about all of these guys we're talking about. Like, how do you not respect Shaquille O'Neal? You don't have to like him. You don't have to like I don't. Who is a player I hate? LeBron James. I can't stand LeBron. I respect the hell out of LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how do you not?
Yeah.
I mean, Anyway, what do you make of Boston last night?
I mean, they're a gritty team. I think Al Horford was sensational. I think it's exactly what they needed. And they're just going to continue to battle Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee ends up edging them out, but I think that was a hell of a game for sure.
Yeah, I think that I'm so impressed with Jason Tatum. I mean, he had so much pressure on him last night because of how poorly he played in Game 3. To come back and put up 30 and just defend the way that team defended was so impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at what's on the table tonight. I think tonight's a huge game for Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
Yeah.
There's no question this is a must win.
I mean, at some point, and I feel like Tatum has taken a step ahead, but at some point, Book has got to have that game in this series. Like, I don't know if that's tonight or if that's like later in the series, but I need 40-point Devin Booker to show up at some point. That's got to happen for them to take control of this series.
I'm waiting for Book to have that moment where he just breaks out and becomes the guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough to do that because we talk about this every game. I mean, he goes 3, 4, 5 possessions without even touching it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the love-hate relationship with Chris Paul. You know, like it's this thing where, you know, it's a balance. Like when Chris Paul is hot, Devin Booker's not going to ask for the ball from him. You know, when Chris Paul is doing his thing in the mid-range, that team vibes. You know, that team just flows. And I think when Chris is struggling, then it's Book's turn. The problem is there are a lot of times when Book has missed some shots. And the real ball breaker about it is, you know, he can make those shots. You know that he can make the transition 3. You know that he can make that little jumper. Like, these are just shots that he should make. And that's why I say, like, I want him to step into, like, I want him to get to where Tatum is at as far as his team is concerned. Like, I feel like on Boston, Jason Tatum is the guy and everyone else revolves around him. That's what I feel like it is now.
All right, little breaking news for you. Tom Brady. Breaking news.
Okay.
Tom Brady has agreed to become the lead NFL analyst for Fox NFL when he retires. I'm actually excited about this.
Why? Why is this happening now?
Because the Derby was on for him once he retired. And I think Tom Brady this is a brilliant move. This is absolutely a brilliant move.
But why does this need to come out now? You're still playing, dude.
Because it allows him to start making money. It allows him, they're going to begin paying him now. My guess is you're going to see exclusives with Tom Brady on their platforms.
Okay.
And I think this is a brilliant move. This is really, really smart from Tom Brady. By the way, who's not going to watch Tom Brady become the next Troy Aikman?
Yeah.
Who's not going to watch Tom Brady become the next guy?
Yeah.
He's going to be the next Tony Romo. You're going to want to hear everything that Tom Brady has to say. I think this is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. I don't know if he'll be good at this because I don't know that this is his forte, but we're going to find out.
Yeah.
I think this is and this is what I've always said about Tom Brady. He is an incredible businessman. He has the ability to seize moments. Look what he did with Facebook, his Facebook show. Look what he understands social media. If you don't follow Tom Brady on social media, you're a fool because he's actually really compelling. Running around in his backyard wearing a helmet and shoulder pads with shorts on, throwing footballs to people is compelling to watch Tom Brady do that. I don't know why, but I can't turn it off. I think Tom Brady is really smart for this. I think this guy's a business tycoon. I'm telling you, he's going to do really well in that role. All right, speaking of business tycoons, let's talk about NIL after you shop our affiliate links. Check out the links below, man. Everything that you need, there's a link for it below. Energy drink, protein bars, you name it, it's there. Make sure you shop our affiliate links in this podcast, live on YouTube. It's all in the description. Check it out. Help the show grow. NIL. So the NCAA yesterday released guidance on NIL, name, image, and likeness.
Notice it's guidance. Notice how many times when we have this conversation, the NCAA tries to gift wrap stuff into like nice nomenclature when it's actually just rules so they can go out and find people. Please continue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Well, the NCAA, who is useless at this point, released guidance on the NIL deals. And the main thing that you should get a boner over in this release
the main thing you should get a boner over?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just so you can go to Pound Town.
Yeah, exactly. The main thing that should get your blood boiling on this is that the NCAA, just out of nowhere, was like, oh, yeah, hey, by the way, and we can also go back. Even though we just released the guidance today, we can go backwards and punish people for things they've done that are against this guidance.
What?
So just a couple of things on the NCAA. Number one, and probably first and foremost, and I think this is probably a point that you haven't thought of, the NCAA can fuck all the way off. Nobody cares about you. You're irrelevant. You're useless. You're not necessary.
Yeah.
And you're self-important. And by the way, while you're fucking all the way off, just go ahead and try and win that argument in court. Oh, well, we released the guidance in the spring of 2022. But your violation was in the fall of 2021, so that's the death penalty we're going to see, guys, in 5 years.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
How are you going to win that one in court?
You're not.
How many lawsuits is that going to spike?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
By the way, here's the other thing. Now that you're a toothless old woman who probably just, blows dudes for a living at truck stops, which is what the NCAA is. I don't know. That's probably over the top. That's probably over the top.
You worked in old woman at truck stops into a college football team.
Toothless old woman at truck stops.
Jesus.
Look, the NCAA is nothing more than a lot lizard here. Let's be honest.
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
Yeah, but the point is, why are you not tying the name, image, likeness stuff, the NIL, to the transfer portal? When are you going to figure out?
Because they don't want that.
That NIL and transfer portal are hand in hand.
Yeah.
When are you going to figure out that much like herpes,
God damn it,
the NIL is a gift that just keeps on giving, and the transfer portal is just like the cherry on top of the gift in the sundae of the NIL. And when are you going to understand that the NIL and the transfer portal are linked? They are one. They are one. And for those of you who don't know, any NCAA athlete can put themselves in the transfer portal one time, and they can transfer one time without sitting out. So, think about, I don't know, Caleb Williams, who, Heisman Trophy and all that good stuff. Yeah, why don't you come to USC? Keys on Van Nuys, the car dealership, would like to give you a car deal.
All gas, no brake.
Well, my former head coach is there already. Yeah, let me go drive a Lexus and live in a luxury condo tower. And, yeah, I think I'll do that. Let me put my name in the transfer portal. All right, thanks. Right? Because that's what this is. And what the NCAA doesn't understand is we don't need you. We don't need you, old men. We don't need you. Right? The NCAA is irrelevant. There's nothing you can do here.
That's out of the window.
Whether it's Jake's white iguana carrying a bag of money to BYU, or, because that's the first thing I saw on Twitter yesterday. Oh, BYU bagman's off the hook.
BYU bagman. Yet another made-up figure.
But it's amazing to me that the NCAA really thinks they're relevant here. Because in all seriousness, let's stop talking about grandma at the truck stop. In all seriousness, all the NCAA did yesterday was absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changed. Like, I reached out to one of the guys I know at BYU yesterday and I said, hey, what do you think of this? And he straight up said it changes absolutely nothing. We have always acted with ethics and we've always put the student athlete first. And God bless you, children. Okay. Like, what did you think? Right? Like, everybody that immediately went to BYU's in trouble. No, BYU's not in trouble. BYU's Built Bar deal didn't break any rules. Like, the NCAA is useless. They have no teeth. They're not an enforcement body. And the idea that they think they can go back and enforce previous violations before they were violations is stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not real.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean anything, man. The NCAA poisoned the water in college sports by holding on to all the money. When you grasp it all and you don't share it with the guys who made it for you, you send the Ed O'Bannons of the world to court, right? And you send the Scam Newtons to the boosters.
Yeah.
And everybody's making money, and we're going to crack down. No, you're not. You're not, though. You're not. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
The NCAA is a scam. The NCAA is a fraud. The NCAA doesn't educate kids or make men. They're a fraud. They're useless. And this whole NIL thing, until the NCAA either does what they do now, which is just stand the fuck out of the way because nobody cares what you think.
Yeah.
Nothing will improve. Because what is college football? It's the same as it's always been. The guys that have the money, the schools that have the boosters, the people that have, the T-Boone Pickens Field at Jimmy Jones Stadium. Those are the guys who are going to get the best players.
Well said.
Those are the guys that are going to get the best coaches because coaches like driving Cadillacs and players like having PlayStations and queen beds in their dorm rooms. And they don't like living in dorms. They like living in houses and luxury condo towers. And that's what the transfer portal and the NIL combined together facilitates.
It's not fucking real, right?
It's not real. There's no NCAA regulations. When are we going to get on with getting on?
Yeah.
The NCAA, college sports is big business. And until we embrace the idea that NIL and the transfer portal are one, that we're going to have envelopes going from booster to player.
How the fuck else would you do this job?
And that's what the NCAA wants to stop. They want to stop, hey, Jimmy, who owns 71 car dealerships, walked up to, Greg Jones, the quarterback, and handed him a cash full envelope.
And he will every single time.
Okay, and what are you going to do about it? Because you can't prove anything, right? Because now you have NIL, so guys are getting paychecks from EA Sports, and guys are getting paychecks from Built Bar, and guys are getting their tuition paid for by Built Bar. And
Yep.
And ultimately, and this is where I'll leave this conversation, ask yourself this question. Why does it matter? Why do we care? Why do we care?
Because the board needs to make money. They want to get paid.
I think that's the biggest single issue to me.
I think my sneaking suspicion is they know that NIL and the transfer portal are connected. They don't want them to be. They don't want to put it together because they need a way to find you. They need a way to make money.
What needs to happen here, and this is, this is not reinventing the wheel. Colleges need to leave the NCAA.
Yeah.
And, I talked about this back in the K-Fan days in 2014, 2015, when BYU was essentially in the Big 12, all but in the Big 12. And Texas and Oklahoma were trying to get USC to leave the pack and the Big 12 and form a super conference. And USC wouldn't do it. And so Oklahoma and Texas said, we don't want the damn Mormons in their white iguana in our conference. And so they didn't get in. And what did Texas and Oklahoma do? They left and joined a super conference. Like this is a game that's played with money.
Yeah.
And until somebody tells the NCAA to blow me and get out of here because we don't need you.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
Like, what do you need the NCAA for?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
What do they do? Do you think the NCAA tournament doesn't go on without the NCAA? Because I got news for you. It does. It does. And to me, there's nothing wrong with allowing kids to make money while they're in college.
Yeah.
It keeps the college game strong. Because these kids, like in basketball, college basketball sucks.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's not compelling. It's not interesting. When you have, Jerry, the 85-year-old man who's handing kids cash and stuff, and the kid knows it's wrong, and he's like, all we're doing is breaking rules. That's what we're doing.
But the rules,
right?
The rules don't need to be in place.
But that's my point.
Like, there's not a necessity. Like, okay, cool. They paid the kid to come to their program. Who cares?
It's sanctioned bribery. That's what the portal and the NIL deals are.
Yeah.
It sanctions bribery. It brings the robber in.
Take the mask off. Ring the doorbell.
Let's stop this charade.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy wants to go to Oklahoma because he needs a good education. He wants to be a soybean. Yeah, he wants to be a soybean farmer.
A soybean farmer.
And he's got to learn how to water the particulates and the triglycerides to make the soybeans grow and cure people's prostates. That's what Jimmy wants. No, the motherfucker wants to get paid and play college football so he can go to the NFL. That's what he wants. He doesn't want to be a prostate soybean farmer. I got news for you. Because nobody is picking soybeans over the NFL.
Listen, I don't care if he's in the middle of open heart surgery. Get him on the phone.
You know what I'm saying?
Make the call.
Okay.
Let's go.
I feel better.
Good. All right. What do we got next?
Yeah, by the way, Eric and Raleigh, great point. He says the robber needs to leave the mask on because of COVID. Thank you.
Great
right.
point there, sir.
The exactly coronavirus.
Right. Excellent point.
Thank you. All right, so we are tight on the clock. So let's get rolling with you decided to sign a new lease yesterday.
We can't word it like that. I decided to give my money away for another year.
Yeah. Yeah, how's that equity building?
Yeah, it sucks. It isn't happening.
So Jake signed a new lease yesterday for, 6 months, right?
Nope, 13 months.
Ooh, 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely the right decision.
Yeah, well.
So here's the thing, and I think this is part and parcel to, like, the transfer portal and the NIL as well. Right, you got to do what's best for you. You got to make right decisions, right?
Right.
And we're in a climate where right now it's probably better to rent than to buy.
Pause, bro. Pause.
So I don't live in a mansion. I live in a castle, right? So
yeah,
I live in a 4-bedroom essentially, if you count, my basement with a closet. So of course it's a bedroom. I live in a 3-bedroom with a finished basement, like 2.5 bathrooms.
Right.
I'm for real.
My house is probably worth, I don't know what, $450. Let's be conservative. There's houses that have a 1 less bathroom, 1 less bedroom, and are about 500 square feet smaller, selling for $555.
What the fuck are you talking about?
$555,000.
Bro, what?
So the Fed raised interest rates last week 0.5 point.
Yeah.
So it's really expensive to get money in this country. So not only are property values like insanely high,
yeah,
But now interest rates are in the 6s.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got 700 credit, you're paying 6% interest on your mortgage.
Yeah.
It's untenable.
Yeah.
It is untenable. It is not a proposition that you should take on. I'm telling you, and I have almost never said this before. If you do not currently own a home, do not buy a house right now.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do not do it. Do not buy a home right now. And like, I live in South Jordan, and I'm looking at some of these houses on the hill in Daybreak, and we walk through open houses pretty regularly. It's something we enjoy doing.
Right.
Mrs. Monty loves looking at houses.
Right.
So do I.
Fix or flip. Right. We get it.
Yeah. You know what?
Right.
Fixer upper.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Flip or flop.
Right.
In things.
Right.
My point is, these houses are so incredibly overpriced. It is like, we walked through a house the other day that was $1 million asking. And the lady's like, yeah, and I'm going to lease it back for 90 days too. So wait, and I just want to make sure I understand what I'm buying here. So I'm buying your house for $1 million. It was like 900,000, whatever. I'm buying your house for $1 million, and then I have to lease it to you for 90 days. And that means I can't move in, and I don't really own it, even though I have to pay the mortgage so you can live in it because your house.
Here's what I don't like about her story that I was like,
The lady whose house we walked through. Yeah.
Oh, we didn't know we were going to be moving soon. But yet you need to lease back the house for a few months.
Yeah, and
you didn't know that you could get so much money for your house. So you finally decided to list it.
Yeah.
Once you found a property in Lehigh.
Yeah, they're moving to Lehigh. Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, we didn't know we'd be moving so soon. Yet you need to lease it back for 90 days. Something tells me you're not moving that soon.
Yeah. I don't, and I think the thing that's very difficult is I do think a market correction's coming. I think we are now at a point where, and the scary thing is, and this is not worst case scenario, but we've all been waiting for inventory, more houses to be up for sale, right? Inventory. Now that inventory is there and people are like, oh, we're going to sell our house in 3 days and we're going to have 37 offers. And well, it turns out that it takes longer than 3 days and you're lucky to get an offer in the first week.
This is fucking America.
You're starting to see that people's appetite for overpaying significantly is less now. And what you're also seeing is with interest rates being higher, fewer people want that $3,000 mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Because now they're saying that the average mortgage payment is creeping towards $3,000.
Which is just insane.
Right? So that takes a bunch of people out of the market already. And then you start looking at the Bill Gateses of the world. Bill Gates yesterday said that there is a global economic slowdown coming. And you just begin to wonder at what point do things change? I actually think we're not going to see a massive recession. I actually think we need a correction in the economic flow right now. And I think if we see a global economic slowdown, I don't think it's a bad thing.
What does that even mean, though? Like
that means that less money is going to be moving through banks. So fewer people are going to be buying goods. I think you're looking at fuel right now. Energy and fuel are two huge market problems. Because you look at what's going on, like India is in the middle of an incredible heat snap.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they doing? They're buying natural gas from Russia at all-time highs. One, India has always supported Russia, or at least in the modern era, has supported Russia. So they're going to buy energy from Russia. But you're starting to see that the Europeans now have to shift the way that they do business because they're not able to buy energy from Russia.
Yeah.
And they've committed to stopping the main fuel that they're buying from Russia is natural gas. They've committed to stopping purchases of natural gas from Russia over the next period of time. So I think you're seeing all of this happening, and it just means that there's a trickle-down effect. Fewer people are going to be driving on vacation over the summer now because the cost of gas is so high.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to be going to places like, look at all the people at Little Moab this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be staycationing. So you're going to be camping locally instead of driving to Moab, instead of driving to Arizona and Sedona, instead of
taking trips.
You're going to be staying local. So what's that mean? Well, that means that less gas is going to be consumed.
Yep.
But what that should also mean is the price of gas is going to go down, but it's not going to. It's not going to. So everybody, then what's going to happen? Well, the midterm elections are going to happen in the fall. And people are going to blame Joe Biden. And then there's this abortion crisis. And you're starting to see all this turmoil is starting to sap into the global markets. Look at how shitty the stock market is right now. One of the things the stock market always tells you is, hey, how much money is actually moving? And there's a whole lot of money not moving. There's a whole lot of people losing money in stocks right now. Look how down Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
What happened to all the crypto guys?
Yeah.
What happened to all the Dogecoin guys? Remember, that cute little puppy, Doge to the moon.
Right. Yeah.
Turns out Doge never went to the moon.
Yeah.
And really, it's because Mercury's in retrograde. Which, by the way, Mrs. Monty needs to come back in here.
I cannot wait for this one.
Now we get to talk about astrology.
It's the fucking vernal equinox.
It is the fucking vernal equinox. Mercury is in retrograde, which means that your scrotum is going to view Mercury moving in reverse. Which means
So wait. You said boner, lot lizard, and now scrotum.
No, I said old lady without teeth. Get it right.
Sorry.
And I said boner.
Okay.
Now we've said scrotum, thick scrotums. Anyway, the point is, Mrs. Monty, do you believe in astrology or Mercury in retrograde or whatever it is?
Do you have a drop for that's a bunch of bullshit?
Here we go. What's your Virgo? Are you a Virgo?
I'm a Virgo.
You're a Virgo.
Yeah.
Okay. A Virgo's worst nightmare, public embarrassment. Look, it doesn't mean it's bound to happen. However, it's more likely now because Mercury's in retrograde.
Yep.
That's because this transit will impact your 10th house of public images. So don't worry about your 7th or 8th house. It's really this 10th house that's going to flood. The basement's going to flood.
But
the
that's
roof's going to
bullshit.
leak. Like you're probably going to have a broken window in the 10th house. So just know that's coming.
Why? Why do people waste their time on this? It's just a distraction. It's just something that puts things in your mind that are not true. Like there is none, zero, zip evidence.
Virgo, you might find yourself questioning a lot, which can be hard for...
Here's it.
You can't make this up.
Astrology and psychics all do the same thing. They give you a vague enough thing that it really applies to everyone, and you're like, I am questioning this thing. Oh my God. And maybe I'm not sure now. And
Virgo,
now, but what am I going to do?
Virgo, as a control freak, these periods can be hard for you. You are absolutely a Virgo, and you are absolutely a control freak.
Oh man!
I mean, I'm just reading this. It's on the page. I'm just reading
about you.
Okay, Pisces.
Yeah, pull up the Pisces.
Pisces is majorly affected by Mercury being in retrograde. You can also expect physical issues within the home.
Whoa.
You did come down and we were upset this morning, but I'm just
Y'all
saying.
feel me?
It's super annoying that your microwave decided to stop working, but the problem is fixable. Have patience and perspective. Well, I'm a guy, actually, that's not me because I have a lot of patience and a lot of perspective.
Fucking A.
That's a lie. I have almost no patience. Pisces are known for being super sensitive, but just remember, you don't need to feel the weight of the world all of the time. Focus on those who are closest to you and give yourself space to breathe.
These are they are literally applicable to everyone in the world. Like they just give you enough to go like, maybe that's just me. Wait a minute.
What? No, Mercury's in retrograde.
You know what?
Don't say these
that
things.
That light flickered. That's what's happening.
Donnie, please.
Retrograde.
Dad is here. The lights flickered. Dad is watching.
Daddy!
It is.
Do you hate everything or just me?
I just don't want to waste my time with things that are a bunch of bullshit.
And she took offense.
Oh my God. And you know the funny thing about this conversation, you are perfect levity for me. Because I am Mrs. Monty and I sit right next to each other all day long working, and she'll just reach over and she'll be like a fist bump, or she'll be like, hey, fat ass, did you drink water? Here, why don't you drink some water? I'll go refill our cups.
Never do I say fat ass.
Well, I mean, I think I hear you say fattest, but that could just be
Fat?
Yeah, you don't. You're the perfect levity for me. Because I actually like reading my horoscope. I haven't read it in years, but when I worked in downtown Chicago, we would get on Metro and get the Chicago Sun-Times. And I would read my horoscope every single day. Dear Abby and my horoscope. Got to do it.
What are the comments saying?
Okay, yeah. By the way, in the comments, do you guys believe in your horoscope? Eric and Raleigh says, people believe in astrology like some believe in religion, but they lack the ability to understand what they don't understand. Okay, I don't disagree with that. The night guy says, like religion. Exactly. Why are we having a Democrat-Republican conversation?
Jesus Christ,
Tanner,
man. Come on.
Tanner Plummer says, guys.
Come on.
Hey, guys. Not to get too political.
Hey, guys.
Hoping the Democrats can hold their own in the midterms.
Me too, Tanner.
God, me too.
Thanks
Hey, guys.
for bringing it up, buddy.
Me too. By the way, Mrs. Monty absolutely had a meltdown the other day about abortion.
Oh,
absolutely.
Boy.
You made some comment about Mitch McConnell reaching up into your vagina or something.
On to Cincinnati.
I don't believe I actually said that. I
you?
just can't believe that we're having this fucking conversation still. And it's the great distraction. And this is
It is.
a lot of how politics works. Distract the people with something and do something else.
Jeremy Bolton says, I'm a Gemini. Quote, you like to eat food, drink water, and walk on your feet, and have eyes.
Oh my gosh.
He is a Gemini. Are we all Gemini?
Oh my God. You know what? I think I have a Gemini rising sign. I'm going to go and put some money into some freaking rocks to hold that's going to make me more powerful.
What the fuck?
Please stop buying crystals that you think are going to make you feel better.
Look, Gwyneth Paltrow, if I want to shove egg-shaped rocks in my
right.
vagina,
I'm
I
gonna
can
put
do
a
that.
quartz up my vagina, and then she got sued.
No.
And also, rubbing the rock on your face isn't going to take care of your
if you rub the rock
either.
on your face after you put it in your vagina, then you
Stop it.
Eric and Raleigh.
Down.
This is what makes me angry. Hi.
And Garcia says, I'm a Virgo, and I definitely have the need to speak to your manager attitude. Yes,
But Tim is not a Virgo, and he will 100% ask for the manager.
I'm a man.
I don't ask for the manager.
I'm with Mrs. Monty. Tanner says, I think horoscopes are a bunch of BS.
They are. They're going to give you just enough generality that it might apply. And you're like, oh, that's
Giggity.
how psychics work too.
Giggity says, wait, what? Mrs. Monty, what do you want to rub on your face?
Not that kind of rock.
Oh, the night guy says, I'm an Aquarius. Said I'm going to eat Cool Ranch Doritos and drink vanilla Coke today. Whoa. Exactly. By the way, wait, I sold the...
you missed the whole point of the conversation.
Well, fuck, Mercury's in retrograde, so we all get free burgers at McDonald's.
Yeah, come on, guys.
As long as you download the app.
Like you...
It's the fucking vernal equinox.
Yeah, you get free chicken sandwiches and burgers at McDonald's because it's the vernal equinox.
Yeah.
Or Mercury
It's the fucking vernal equinox.
is in taint. I don't know, but
okay, Mercury is in taint.
If you download the McDonald's app, you get a free chicken sandwich or a
I think it's a McDouble or a chicken
We're going to
sandwich.
give you some free poison. Yay!
Wow.
Download our app so we can track you, get your information, and we'll give you some free poison. Yay!
Every time I hear that vomit soundbite. Brutal.
Yeah.
By the way, I ate 2,300 calories yesterday, 2296 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had dreams that I overate on calories last night. I was super hot all night long because somebody wouldn't turn the fan on. So I wake up, it's 4:33. I wake up, I sit up in bed, and I am hot. And I'm sitting there, and at like 4:40, Mrs. Monty like stirs, and she rolls over, turns on the fan. Great, thanks for doing that when I have to get out of bed. Thank you. And then I go in the bathroom, brush my teeth, do my hair, like fondle myself, whatever. Come out of the bathroom like 7 minutes later, and the fan's off already. And she's all like burrowed into the bed under the blankets. What kind of woman runs a fan for 7 minutes?
Fire and fury.
It's called menopause.
Things we don't need to know as men.
Quiet.
Yeah, look. You know. I'm glad I'm not a woman. A, I don't have to give birth. B, Mitch McConnell can't tell me what to do with my body.
Right?
And C, I don't have to worry about menopause.
You know.
What are you thinking right
The
now?
death
Mrs.
stare
Monty?
is currently
She
occurring.
is- yeah.
If murder wasn't illegal, there'd be a lot more dead men.
Yeah, you'd be dead, fat ass, because I'd have killed you long ago. Very true. Very true. My daughter's softball coaches are a joke. It literally kills me not to jump in and direct or correct everything wrong with the team. LOL. Wow. And Garcia, spar down. James Knight says, did you give Mrs. Monty 3 of your best minutes, Monty? No, she won't. I'm married. We don't do that. Big Dog O-Town.
Wow.
She does not appreciate that. That was over the weekend. Big Dog O-Town say, yeah, thank you. Danny, I'm Aquarius. What's that mean?
Go back to the article.
Nothing.
It doesn't affect Aquarius. It does. Mercury in retrograde only affects like 4 signs, and 2
Does
of
it
them are
affect
Virgo.
Sagittarius?
It does not.
Oh, okay.
Nothing affects Sagittarius because you
Good.
guys can't read, so
Yeah,
they don't.
there you go.
You know.
Me?
Anyways, also side note, Jeremy Bolton says, just bought ourselves a brand new car. My wife said I got worked at the dealer, but we got exactly what we wanted. Whambo. What kind of car did you
worked
get?
at the dealer.
What kind of car did you get? Mrs.
Okay.
Monty and I, and we're way late now.
We
but-
literally have the statement right here. It's hilarious that this got brought up.
Yeah, we dropped the Jeep off at Hinckley Overlanding yesterday.
By the way, new video Saturday.
Yeah, new video Saturday.
Yeah.
We're going to Moab on Friday. So we dropped the Jeep off yesterday. So we broke a part, or a part broke, or whatever happened while we were rock climbing or rock crawling this weekend. So they're going to fix that, and then we were putting on a Terraflex tire carrier, some rock slider side steps, and a light. And it'll be interesting to see how the Jeep comes out of that. But are we all I'd like Mrs. Monty, I think you're really enjoying the Jeep process.
I really like it. And then, like, as soon as I start liking it, he's like, hey, so it's already overvalued, so we might need to think
Didn't buy
about
it to
selling
keep
it
it.
soon.
Didn't buy it to
And
keep
I'm
it.
like, fuck, I barely have, it's been a month.
Okay, so the other thing we need to talk about is, what are we going to name the Jeep?
Why do we need to name cars?
Because it's fun.
Is it?
Well, Mrs. Monty wants to name the Jeep Carol.
Carol?
That was her answer yesterday. I said, what do you want to name the Jeep?
No, Jake.
She first said
It was
Sheila.
not.
She first said Sheila, and I said,
What about
hell no.
Brinley?
Brinley. They're done. The Jeep's name is Brinley. What would you name the Jeep if
I'm
you
going to
could
be
name
late
it?
to work because I'm going to need to do some meditation.
Get
cleansing
the fuck
meditation.
out!
What should we name the Jeep? Should we name the Jeep at all? Because I would name it Carl, Cliff, Steve, Scott, like a guy's name.
Jeff?
No.
Kent?
No.
Cliff.
Cliff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Cliff was the name of the Tacoma,
I guess. I don't know.
which was also lifted. You know, Jeremy Bolton says, name it LeCarron. Exactly. Oh, you got a Telluride.
Yeah.
He got a 2023
That's right,
Kia
he was
SX
looking.
Telluride Nightfall
Oh,
Edition.
you ordered it. You ordered it.
So you ordered it, Jeremy Bolton. You stud. Name it Obama.
Obama.
Obama. Barack. Name it.
Barack.
Eric and Raleigh says, name it short-term investment. Okay. Call it Alex Caruso.
Is
Tanner.
that what STI stands for?
Yes.
Short-term investment.
Yes.
Oh, look
Yes.
at Mrs. Monty.
It was well played. Well played.
Name the Jeep Bucket of Bullets. Exactly. BB. Bucket of Bullets.
Bob. Come on. Work with
Okay,
me.
Bob. Okay.
He's just a hack.
We could name it Bob. We could name it. Hello.
Dude.
Just left him hanging.
Leave me hanging
Man.
here.
Dude.
Could name it Bob. I don't dislike that. All right, we have to go because it's seriously
man.
5 to 8. Mrs. Monty from way downtown.
Yeah.
Eric and Raleigh says, yeah, we ordered it, but it's coming in a month. Someone ordered one but canceled, so we snagged it up. Ooh.
Nice, dude.
If you call it Caruso, it'll be in impound in a month. Thanks, jerk.
Pictures.
Call it,
You gotta have pictures when it rolls up.
the Nye guy says, gotta call it the Casual. Maybe that's our next vanity plate. Casuals.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Oh.
It's available, yeah.
Oh. By the way, you look lovely today, Mrs. Monty. Your hair is
Don't
like
try to
radiant.
save yourself.
No, I'm serious. Doesn't she look? You actually look. What do you mean? Hey, look, a guy's got to do what he's got to do to get a little.
He's in retrograde. He's trying to
The
save
vernal
himself.
equinox.
Wow, you guys are cocks.
I mean, there was a lot lizard reference. So
There was a lot. Say goodbye, Mrs. Monty.
Goodbye, Mrs. Monty.